By far, one of the big surprising moments for the Rise of Skywalker's marketing campaign back in 2019, during, of course, Star Wars Celebration, is when we finally got to hear Emperor Palpatine's laughter in the background, confirming that Palpatine was indeed coming back into the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know about Episode 9 is that this movie was a very tough production, by far the most difficult Star Wars movie out of all the sequel trilogy films for Disney and Lucasfilm to develop. And a lot of that had to do with Kathleen Kennedy interrupting and really changing out a lot of scenes that led to a series of deleted scenes, and really changing elements of the actual storyline and how it was structured. Now, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are developing many different retcons for the sequel trilogy, the prequels, and even the originals as we speak, with their new Star Wars universe. By the way, this month we will be getting the official The Rise of Skywalker novelization that's going to really introduce to us a lot of new details about Star Wars, especially The Rise of Skywalker, and a lot to do with Emperor Palpatine. Now, in the novelization, there is a major retcon that not only has to do with Palpatine, but also Palpatine's son. If you guys have seen the movie, you will know that Palpatine's son was seen in numerous flashbacks, and we actually got to see that. Even Kylo Ren says that her father, Rey's father, is the son of the Emperor. So now Disney made a major retcon in Star Wars that may be confusing to some. So now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as the new Star Wars universe, that will be Disney's way to reunite the fans, where it's explained that Disney and Lucasfilm are currently changing the events of the sequel trilogy of films through their new Star Wars universe, and that many retcons are being planned and have already been happening for Star Wars fans around the world. It's explained that one of the major retcons has to do with Emperor Palpatine's son, where in the official novelization for The Rise of Skywalker, it's explained that Disney and Lucasfilm came to the final decision to make Palpatine's son a literal clone of Palpatine himself. However, a clone that is a younger version of Palpatine. A flawed clone, as this clone of Palpatine was not Force-sensitive in any way, and had no powers, and is why Palpatine hated his quote-unquote son, who was really a clone of himself that turned out to be his younger self. The clone of Palpatine would eventually find Rey's mother, have a child with her, and that would lead to the existence of Rey. This spells confusion for many fans of course, whether or not it now means that Palpatine is the literal grandfather of Rey or not. It's explained that the novelization will make many retcons for The Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy of films, as well as elements of the original trilogy for the fans around the world. This is said to be Disney's way to change certain aspects of Star Wars as a whole. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, this could very well fix certain things, but at the same exact time, this could very well wreck certain things. I myself, I'm not too crazy about this retcon of Rey's father actually being a clone of Palpatine, because to me, it doesn't really make much sense to call Palpatine her grandfather then, if Palpatine's son is really just a clone of himself who is considered the father of Rey, which he is. You know, Palpatine's clone is the father of Rey. But wouldn't that in and on itself make the real Palpatine the father of Rey too? You know, it's a little confusing for some out there. You could really interpret it in multiple different ways if you really want to. But this is what I have to say about Disney, is that there's always confusing aspects when it comes to The Rise of Skywalker. So many changes were made behind the scenes during production, such as elements with the Dark Acolyte and the Spirit of Palpatine and everything related to it in that sense. And here we are in the novelization, where not only did Disney and Lucasfilm make it the fact that they want to introduce Palpatine's son as a clone of Palpatine, but it also gives us a clue now, a mirror image of how Palpatine appeared as his younger self. So when you look at Rey's father in those flashbacks in the movie, that is actually what Palpatine looks like as his younger self. That is a younger version of himself as a clone. Very interesting. Now, I kind of like that side, where you kind of get a sense of what Palpatine looks like as a young individual, but at the same exact time, it just is very confusing for the casual fan. And even for myself, as a hardcore Star Wars fan, I'm not quite sure how I really feel about this. And I really would love to hear what each and every one of you out there have to say about what the novelization spells for Rey's father, who is the son, quote-unquote, of Palpatine, who is really a clone. Very confusing stuff, I will add. I don't know why they decided to do this. I know that Palpatine, the older version, is a clone. That's one thing that the novelization points out. But at the very least, they could have made Palpatine's son a literal son of Palpatine. Now, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.